Today is November 16th. It is a B-Day. The question of the day is objective number 3. You should have 3 questions and 2 answers on your paper. Today's question says, how do you express or represent a recessive allele? Last night's homework was page 6 and 7. We had to write about alleles, polygenetic inheritance, all these crazy codominant, independent assortment, a lot of different words and terminologies you need to know. We're not going to have to know everything, but you're exposed to it all. Today's do now is on the board. Please take out your notebook and write in your notebook, genes are. Do not write all of the answers, just write the answer you think is correct. Chromosomes are made up of how many genes? Or a chromosome is made up of how many genes? Chromosomes are found where? And then please put these words in order from smallest to largest. Try not to use your notes. If you have to, it's okay. Because the test isn't for another 2 weeks. December 1st, I think the test is. So you have a little bit of time. Gene, DNA, chromosome, cell, and nucleus. If you can't read the board because it's low here, I've also written it on this board up here so you can use those as well. The extra credit Gattaca is due on December 1st. So if anybody is interested in doing the Gattaca assignment, it's due on December 1st. So you have a long time to get that done. The Gattaca assignment is the movie based on genetics, and you watch the movie and you answer the questions. Everything is on Google Classroom and Google Sites. Pretty soon I'm getting rid of Google Classroom and only putting things on Google Sites, but I'll put a link to Google Sites on Google Classroom so you don't have to worry about it anymore. Because I want to just use Google Classroom just for assigning you assignments instead of publishing things, and Google Sites will be everything so that every class gets it. I don't have to. What happens now is Google Classroom I have to do it 5 different times. On Google Sites, I don't have to do it once because it's a site that's available to everybody, even the people that go to different schools. Google Classroom, only you can see it. Your mom can't, your dad can't, your cousin can't. All right, yesterday's question said, how many chromosomes were found in a human skin cell? What's the answer to that, Alex? There are 46 chromosomes in a human skin cell. How many chromosomes in a human liver cell? 46. How many chromosomes in a human muscle cell? 46. How many chromosomes in a gamete of a human? 23. Every cell in your body, Juan, has how many chromosomes except for your reproductive cells? Every cell in your body has 46 chromosomes. But your reproductive cells have how many, Lara? Bless you. What? Your reproductive cells have how many chromosomes? 23. Why? Joseph, why do they have 23 and not 46? Yes, because they will merge and become but before an embryo, one-celled organism or one-celled, before a fetus, it's a fertilized egg, otherwise known as... Fertilized egg, otherwise known as what, Anthony? A zygote. You ready? You sure? You wrote down the question? You wrote down all these questions? No, you have to write in your notebook. Let's go. All right, I need somebody to check homework, please. I'm not picking people that are calling out. Martina. If the person does not have their homework, please put their name down and the period that they are going to have lunch. So you just put their name and their lunch period. So tomorrow I'll pull you from lunch to do your homework. All right. We're going over the do now. Let's go. Number 1, Donna Love. Genes are what? So genes are found in your cells, but where are they found? Where are they found? Where are they found, Emelina? Donna, where are they found? Donna Love, where are they found? Yes, thank you, Emily and Donna. They're found on the chromosomes. All your genes are on your chromosomes. How many genes are on a chromosome? So number 2, a chromosome is made up of what? How many genes? Be careful with this. One chromosome has how many genes? Is it definitive? Can I tell you exactly which one has how many genes? Dylan, what do you think? Do you think it has 1, 2, a few, or large amounts? Chromosomes have how many genes? Chromosomes have how many genes? A lot of them. How many genes all together do we have? We know from yesterday that there are approximately how many genes on your chromosomes? 30,000 genes on your chromosomes. How many chromosomes do we have again, Samantha? Thank you. 46 chromosomes are in the human body cells. Sometimes they call the body cells the somatic cells. Those somatic cells are your body cells. They have 46 chromosomes. Your reproductive cells have only 23. So when you reproduce, you're giving half to your child, your offspring. But they have 30,000 genes on them. You have 30,000 pieces of instruction. All right. Where do we find these chromosomes, Ariana? Chromosomes are found where? Say it a little louder because I can hear you because somebody was interrupting you. Thank you. We find them in the nucleus. All 46 are in the nucleus of a cell. So please put these words in order from smallest to largest. Smallest piece of genetic information is going to be what? Rach? DNA, good. Bigger than DNA. It has a code. And this little code makes up this next thing, Giselle. What's DNA makes up what? Here are our choices. You ready? Genes, DNA, chromosome, cell, and nucleus. Up here. I put that up here too. What's next? Yes, your DNA is a large molecule that has these nucleotide base pairs. Sometimes there's T's, there's G's, there's A's, there's C's. And each sequence of 3 is a little code. And that code tells the cell what to do. And it creates a gene. Some genes have long codes. Sorry, you're welcome. Okay, so sometimes genes have thousands of these base pairs, and they have to be copied in the correct order. Sometimes they only have a couple of hundred. So the gene sizes are different based on how many DNA molecules there are. So DNA makes up genes. What do the genes make up? Genes make up what? Next word. Genes make up what, Jared? We have DNA, gene, then we get chromosome. Good. How many chromosomes are in your body cells? How many chromosomes? Let's change this question up because you should know this by now. How many chromosomes are in a toad? Those were the socks you ruined. How many chromosomes are in a toad? Ems. 20. How many in watermelon? 22. How about a cat? Cat was 38. How about a pig? 38 as well. So sometimes organisms share the same number of chromosomes, but they can't reproduce. How about cattle? 60. Yeah, so every organism pretty much has their own number of chromosomes. So if you put a cat and a human together, the sperm and the egg, we wouldn't create anything because the chromosomes would never line up. They wouldn't match up because the information would not be accurate. Martina, just write his name down because he's going to be spending the whole year with me. Chromosomes are found where, Anthony? A little bit smaller. In the nucleus, and then therefore the nucleus is where, Lara? In the cell. This is the order of size. DNA, gene, chromosomes, nucleus, cell. This is order from smallest to largest. So we have to read directions. All right. Last night's homework was based on what genes did. They give you your traits. They give you your eye color. They give you your hair color. They give you your height. Sometimes it takes more than one gene to express that trait. In this class, we're going to make it simple and then build. So we're going to make believe that there's only 2 genes that control a trait, and then we'll build on it because I want you to understand the initial thing first. So Going back to the beginning. We went over this already. Let us move on. Dominant versus recessive traits. Please go to the second page in your yellow notes. Nope, now you're going to your yellow notes. Get there quickly. We did it already. You were sleeping when we did that. We finished that. Chromosomes, nucleus, cell. Now everybody knows that you didn't finish it. All right, manila notes. The notes are not really yellow. They have like a manila color. Okay. Page 2, 1. Do you think that these people are related? Could it be possible that this woman is related to these children? How many people think it's possible? How many people think no way, that she's definitely not related? Why don't you think she's related? But you need facts. Whenever you think something, there's a reason why you think that. I want a specific fact. Give me one. Her eyes. What about her eyes? Okay, so the girl has bluish green eyes and the woman has what color? Okay, the hair is different color, the eyes are different color, the skin is a different color. The nose, I don't know, the little girl's not developed yet, so we don't know what her nose is going to look like, but the traits look different. Does that mean they're not related, Vincent? No. They could be related because traits sometimes, well, the traits that show only show because the genes have different strengths. So go ahead. Yeah, she could have hidden genes. Her genes could be hiding. She could have genes from her mom and her dad that you don't see. I have 2 girls that are left-handed. I'm righty. I had to have given that left-handed gene to my children because they wouldn't have been left-handed without it. I'm hiding that gene. I never knew that I had the left-handed gene. I have brown eyes. Both of my girls have blue eyes. How'd they get that? I gave them the blue-eye gene, but I don't have it. Showing it's hiding in my pocket. You can't see it. All right. 46 chromosomes you have, and they come in pairs. You get half from your mother and half from your father. Half from the mom, half from the dad. In this case, this is a scan of a chromosome that has been scanned using a light ray called infrared radiation. The infrared radiation is showing you different colors. Are your chromosomes those colors? No. Your chromosomes are not those colors. Why do they show those colors? To differentiate. They're differentiating it so you could see that these are the markers that represent the genes. Are you with me or are you sleeping? Then turn around, focus, put your eyes up here. Okay. This pink area right here is a piece of a gene. They match each other. This little area is another piece of a gene. Then we have another area. This could be 2 genes. I really can't tell with this scan because you see how that's darker on the bottom? If we went under the microscope, a bigger microscope, like electron microscope, we could possibly see what's inside those genes. But they don't come out as A, T. They come out as lines. All different places. You ever see one of those? The DNA scan things when they're checking out your DNA? And then you match up the markers. I'll show you that in a little bit. Not right now, but I'll show you how the DNA gets smeared through a centrifuge. They spin it around and they separate it. So then you can see the different portions of the gene. And they match it up. And it's all based on comparing things. So we're comparing parts of that DNA. You're looking at the chromosomes. We line up human chromosomes, and we know we have 46. You get half from your mom, half from your dad. So mom and dad both gave you 23. This is something we already know. It's redundant. We went over it 1,000 times already, right? Okay, so we're moving on. We also know that most of the genes have to be expressed by using 2 or more forms. So there's not only brown eyes in this world. Some people have blue eyes. Some people have green eyes. Eye color is found on chromosome 15. The variation of that color is found on chromosome 9. So everybody has either a brown, a blue, or a green-eyed gene. but then the variant gene is on a different chromosome. What color? You might have grayish eyes. You might have hazel eyes. You might have like a green-blue eyes. You might have two different color eyes. How does that happen? Probably mutation. But the eye color is based on what alleles you're given. For eye color, we have two genes for that trait, but then there's variant genes. All right, so we can have brown eyes, blue eyes, or green eyes. They have alleles, which is a piece of a gene. We're going to go into all that in a little bit more detail. Alleles are different versions of that same gene. So this vocabulary gets a little confusing, so you need to stay focused. All right, so let's look at an allele. This little piece on the gene is an allele. Now we put both of the alleles together, and we can express a trait. Now we have a gene. These two genes, or two alleles, express a trait. This could be hair color. This person's carrying brown hair. I got this from my mother. But my father gave me the blonde hair gene. I have brown hair, but I do have a daughter that has blonde hair. My daughter has blonde hair. That's the place where the hair color is found. Now, this could be the gene for eye color. This could be the gene for height. But this is a for instance. This is not the correct chromosome. It's just an example. These two genes right here, look at them. They're both marked the same, so we're going to infer that they are the same thing. So I don't know what they are, but look at my eyes. They're brown, so if this was me, this would be the gene for brown eyes. They would both be brown. And there's two genes over here, two different ones for height. I'm pretty tall, so I'm going to assume I got one tall gene, and I might have, if I got a different gene, it has to be the opposite of tall, which is short. All of these genes, though, are polygenetic. Did you remember reading that in your homework? It takes more than one of these to affect it, but we're just going to do two for now. All right. You get one from your mom, one from your dad, but they're on little places on your chromosomes, and they control what you look like. So let's get into this in a little bit more detail. Ready? I'm going to show you what happens when you inherit two different alleles, pieces of the gene on the chromosome. So, for example, your mother has blue eyes, so she's going to give you the only gene she has, which is a blue-eye gene. Your father has brown eyes. He's going to give you that brown-eye gene. This baby has one blue-eye gene, one brown-eye gene. What color eyes does the baby have? Samantha? How do you know? Yes, exactly. Brown is dominant. That baby has brown-eye gene because the dominant gene always shows itself. Remember the purple flowers? The purple flower always showed itself. When the flower had a purple and a white gene, purple always showed. The flower has a purple dominant gene, and eye color, brown is dominant. So brown is always going to show. Blue can never show unless there's one way blue can show, because people have blue eyes. What's the only way blue can show? Emily? Yeah, two blues. Good job. Blues came from both the parents. So recessive genes only show if there's no dominant gene there. So if the dominant gene's there, they hide. I have a blue-eyed gene. Can you see it? How come? It's hidden. I'm hiding it. My brown-eyed gene is showing. Not my blue-eyed gene, but I do know I have a blue-eyed gene because I have 4 kids with blue eyes. So I definitely have to have a blue-eyed gene. There's no way they could have blue eyes without my blue-eyed gene. Because they didn't get the brown-eyed gene from me. I only gave them the blue-eyed gene. So this is me. I have one blue-eyed gene, and I have one brown-eyed gene. When my reproductive cells are made, some brown-eyed genes go on chromosomes, and some blue-eyed genes go on chromosomes. They separate. What gene did I give my kids? Blue. I never gave them brown. My sister has 2 children, one brown-eyed and one blue-eyed. She has the blue-eyed gene hidden too. She gave her kids the blue-eyed gene. She did not give any of her kids the brown-eyed gene. Oh, she gave Amelia the blue-eyed gene and Francesca the brown-eyed gene. Oh, Gracie. She's not here. She's at lessons. Yes, Megs. Yes, I can. Dominant versus recessive genes. The dominant gene shows itself all the time, and the recessive gene only shows if there's 2 recessive, so that means that it hides when the dominant gene is present. Did anybody else have a question? Okay. Aunt, you okay? Okay. Ariana, you want to move up so you can see better? Come all the way up here, baby. That's all you want to do is one. Come all the way to the front. Oh, you're going to sit by the Freshie girls? I'm kidding. I love you all the same. You're all tied for second. Soph. I think Blue Eyes is more dominant, only because I'm going to tell you why. They say that green is more rare than blue. So, but there are genes called variance genes, and those variance genes determine the melanin that your body's going to produce. So, and that will make the green. So you could have the blue-eye gene, but then have the green variance, and make your genes a little green. Juan, question. Because you were talking. All right. If your mom gives you the gene for brown eyes and your dad gives you the gene for blue eyes, we heard this already? That baby's going to have what color genes? Eyes, rather. Brown, because the brown is dominant. You're going to get brown eyes. Okay. How do we represent these genes? Scientists, when they look up the genes, they look like this. They're little marks on a paper. They use like this type of instrument that separates them out, and they match them up. Would you understand this gibberish? No. So in order to make it simpler for people, and when they represent these genes, we're using simple terms. And scientists don't really use these simple terms. We're going to use it to teach you. We're using these simple terms called letters. That's a novel concept, right? So we're going to represent dominant genes using what kind of letter? Capital letter. Thank you, Mr. Gallo. If we're going to represent recessive genes, what letter, Dill? Well, if dominant is capital, make an inference. Lowercase, good. Lowercase for recessive genes. So, yesterday, we had purple flowers and white flowers. So, if we had purple flowers, how would we represent in simple terms the purple gene? Capital P. The white flower hid itself only when two white genes are present, remember? The white one was always hiding unless there were two white genes. How would we represent the white flower? This is tricky. Be careful. The white one, you would think it would be lowercase w, but it's not. It's going to be, what do you think, Vin? Lowercase p. Why? What did we say lowercase represents? Recessive genes. So because we're talking about the same exact trait for flower color, we stick to the same exact letter, and then we just use the letter of the dominant one. If they were both dominant, they'd both be uppercase. But it wouldn't be uppercase P, it would have to be uppercase W. So because this is recessive, it has to be lowercase p. Let's do another example so you kind of get the idea, because I think I confused you. All right, what about tall and short? If we're giving a tall gene to somebody, tall is dominant, short is recessive. What letter, Devin, represents tall? What is dominant going to be, capital or lowercase? Dominant, is it a capital letter or lowercase? Good, so if I'm tall, what letter am I going to be? Capital what? T. Now, because all the letters always represents by the dominant letter, what letter are we going to use for lowercase? For the recessive? Can't be S, it has to be what? Lowercase t. Excuse me, ladies. Lowercase t. So tall is uppercase t and short is lowercase t. So when we're representing height color, you'll notice that the short one, it's the little letter, is the recessive gene. Now, eye color is easy because little b starts with blue anyway. That's why I didn't want to use that as an example, because you would have gotten confused. The gene for brown eyes. What letter? Raise your hand, don't call out. What is the letter, Rach? Capital B. Good job. What is the letter for blue eyes? Maris. Lowercase b. Good job. What about green eyes? It's still going to be lowercase b. Good. But you don't have a lowercase anything. That's just how we're represented. You have like these dashes that go through the centrifuge and we separate them out. I'll show you later what that is. A phenotype. This is vocabulary we need to know. Turn the page. When we discuss phenotype, we discuss what you physically look like. So your phenotype is your physical trait. If you want to write on top of the word phenotype, physical trait, because that's alliteration. Phenotype is physical. Phenotype is physical. It's a physical trait. PH, physical. So when I talk about phenotype, what's the phenotype for this girl? She's got blue eyes. Thank you for calling out. Appreciate it. Love it. What about the other girl? Her phenotype is what, Donna? Brown eyes. Good. But do you actually know her alleles? Do we know her genes? No. The genotype is the genes they have. How do we figure that out? We don't know it for a fact. She's too young. She didn't have any babies. We could do the human genome, but that's ridiculous. For eye color, we're not going to waste that kind of money. So we don't know. You can guess and make an inference, or wait till she has children and see what color eyes they have. It's not really important at this stage of the game, but we're going to make believe. So a genotype. Whenever I ask you for a genotype, you're going to be writing down letters. Genotype is the letter of the gene that's represented. So for example, sometimes you get an allele that's a big B. We know big B is dominant. And you might get two big Bs, one from your mom, one from your dad. That's your genotype. Then you take this genotype and you interpret it and you figure out what trait will be represented. The trait that's represented, the physical features, is your phenotype. So what is big B in terms of color? Giselle, what color is it? Good, brown. How about big B, little b, Anthony? Brown. Good. How do you know that, Martina? Yep, you see a capital letter. Devin, what about two little b's? What color? Excellent. How do you know that? Yes, they're both lowercase. There is a lowercase here, but it's not strong enough because it's recessive. Good job. All right, so that is the phenotype, genotype. So look at this girl. What is her genotype? First girl, what's her genotype? What's her genotype, Vincent? How do you know that? She has blue eyes, so her genotype must be lowercase b, because this is recessive, and recessive only shows when there are two. The other girl, would you bet $1 million of what her genes were? Yes. Then you might lose. You got a 50-50 chance of losing. Why do I say that? 50-50 chance. You have to give away $1 million. That means you're going to be working the rest of your life to pay off your debt. Samantha. You are so right. She could either have big B, or big B, little b, because you only need one dominant gene. So if you bet, you have a 50-50 shot. If you lost, you're going to owe somebody $1 million. Oh, well, good for you. All right. If you inherit two like genes for that trait, we call it homozygous. Somebody please tell me what a zygote is. I forgot. What's a zygote, Alex? Good. And what do you need in order to become a zygote? Two things have to merge. What merges to become a zygote? Donna Love? Good. A sperm and an egg is a zygote. So you get your sperm from your what? Your dad, and your egg from your mom. So homozygous means your mom gave you the same gene as your dad, because homozygous, we're getting two of the same genes. We are family. Homozygous are we, because we're the same. The next song is better. You know the next song already. I sang it to you yesterday. Sang it to you yesterday. All right, BB. This is going to be what? Brown eyes and homozygous dominant. Little b. They're the same, so it's going to be homozygous recessive. Good job. What happens if I pull up to the scene with different genes? I'm different. Yes, I'm different. Pull up to the scene with my different genes. One's dominant, one's recessive. What's it called? Heterozygous, because I'm different. Hetero means different. Zygos means sperm and egg. I'm getting different genes from my sperm and my egg. My mom and my dad gave me two genes that were not alike. So heterozygous, because I'm different. Yes, if there's a mutation. It's very rare, but it could happen. All right, big B, little b is what? No, what is it called? Heterozygous or homozygous? Um, B is a dominant. Big B is dominant. Little b is recessive. So the genes alike or different? I'm different. Yes, I'm different. Pull up to the scene with my different genes. One's dominant, one's recessive.
Heterozygous.
Heterozygous, because I'm different. All right, heterozygous for brown eyes. Okay, practice. Ready? Quick review. Oh, Maron. We are family. Homozygous are we, because we're the same. Two genes that are alike are homozygous. I'm different. Yes, I'm different. Pull up to the scene with my different genes. One's dominant, one's recessive. Heterozygous, because I'm different. Yeah, I think I made that song up like 5 years ago. When that came out, Two Chains, because we would play music in the morning before school started, and then I'd hear these weird songs from these kids. And then I was like practicing my genetics, and I was like, oh, I got a song. That's what happens. If I hear songs on the radio, I try to put science stuff to it. Yeah, because I'm so cool like that. I'm weird. You know I'm weird. All right. Alleles. Alleles are pieces of the gene. If we express alleles, not on your paper, it's a quick review. If we express alleles in terms of letters, we only need one of them to express the allele you got from your mom, the other one from your dad. So if you got a dominant allele, it's always going to be capital. So brown eyes is going to have big B. A recessive allele, it's always lowercase, little b. Your phenotype is your physical trait. What do you look like? There's no alliteration for that. Phenotype, physical trait, brown, brown, blue. Your genotype are your genes. You could say it as homozygous, heterozygous, or you could say big B, because that's homozygous. Big B, little b, we know that's heterozygous. And two little b's, we also know that's homozygous, but that's recessive. All right, ready? Oh, yo, Doe. Go away. Don't look at the answers. Shh. Okay, now you don't see him. Can't see me, John Cena. All right, 1 second. In humans, curly hair is dominant. Straight hair is recessive. So if a child inherits one gene from their mother and one gene from their father, they're going to get the curly hair gene from the mom and the straight hair gene from the dad. What gene is representing curly hair? What does it look like? What letter is it? So the curly hair gene is what letter? Alex? What kind of C? Capital C. If the straight hair gene is recessive, what does that letter look like, Vincent? Lowercase c. So the child is going to get the gene for curly hair and the gene for straight hair. The three questions you need to answer. What is his phenotype, genotype, and are they heterozygous or homozygous? So think about it, process it, and write it down. Donna. Green eyes is little b. What is the child's phenotype with this hair stuff? What do you think, Samantha? Curly hair, because phenotype means physical trait. So you're always going to use a physical trait for it. It's curly. How do we know the kid is curly? Because you should know their genotype. What's the kid's genotype for curly hair, Emelina? Kaylin? Well, they get a curly hair gene from the mom. So what is that? Big C or little c? Big C. And they get a straight hair gene from the dad. Lowercase c. So they get a big C and a little c. Is that homozygous or heterozygous? Hold on, Flynn, please. Hey, what's up? You got it. Okay, bye. All right. So Big C, little c. What do we got? Heterozygous or homozygous? Vincent. Heterozygous because each gene is what, sir? Gallo, this is your song. I'm different. Yes, I'm different. Pull up to the scene with my different genes. One's dominant, one's recessive. Because I'm different. Come up here and sing it. Come on. Who wants to sing the song for the microphone? Nobody does? Ninth period loves to sing on the mic. All right. Question of the day. How do you represent a recessive allele? Pink paper, get it out. How do you represent a recessive allele? Let's go, Boboski Wattentotten. How do you represent a recessive allele? Megaloo. With what kind of letter? Uppercase or lowercase? Lowercase letter, yes. The recessive alleles are represented by a lowercase letter. Yes. What is the relationship between chromosomes and genes? Raise your hand. This is the first question. Chromosome and genes, what's the relationship? Genes are making up your chromosomes. 30,000 genes make up your chromosomes. Second question, how many chromosomes are in your skin cell? 46. Everybody should have all 3 questions and answers complete. Yes, you do? 30.